Here we are in the throes of winter, standing in a greenhouse, and it's my pleasure to be talking to Rich Finke, Finke Gardens, about exactly what's going to happen at Sunken Gardens this year. Finke's grows the plants custom, and people always want to know where those plants come from when they are looking at them in Sunken Gardens. So that's what we're going to discuss today. Rich, it takes a lot of planning to pull off something like Sunken Gardens. What is your involvement as a company in figuring out exactly which plants go in any single year?
We are not involved in the planning. Steve and Alice from the city do the design work, and they will get that all finished up and then send me a plant list with quantities of each plant.
One of the questions people always ask is, how do you start them? Where do they come from? Are they seedling produced? Are they in containers? Just exactly where do you get all these beautiful plants?
The answer to somewhere is all over the world, that we will get plants from Israel, from Mexico, a couple other countries, and also here in the United States that we'll get plants from Colorado, which is fairly close, and down to Florida. And these plants will come in many kind of shapes and forms. I try to grow as many as I can from unrooted cuttings, which is just a little tip of a plant with no roots on it. And I can get 10,000 cuttings in one little box and root those into little plugs and then transplant those. I'll buy some already rooted in plugs, and then we will take some cuttings off of stock plants.
They always also want to know, can they get them and how do they get them? And who sells them in places like Lincoln, Nebraska, or are they just really something to enjoy only in Sunken Gardens?
I think you would be able to purchase some here in Lincoln at some retailers, but I think there'll also be some that won't be available, certain cultivars which are new or underused that a lot of retailers may not carry, and those you just have to go to the Sunken Gardens and enjoy there.
And the final question is, do you actually winter over any of the plants that you then will use in Sunken Gardens? And if so, is that a process that you can rely on, or is it sort of what happens, and you may be able to use those, or you may not?
I do not overwinter many coming out of the Sunken Gardens, but the city has a greenhouse, and they overwinter a lot of the tropicals that were grown the season prior in Sunken Gardens. So their greenhouses are full of a lot of tropical plants that they will divide and use again the following year.
Thanks, Rich. We really appreciate your information, and I'm sure everybody is looking forward to seeing what Sunken Gardens looks like come spring.